Some photos don't just capture a moment, they capture a nightmare that refuses to fade. These disturbing snapshots reveal history's darkest corners, where cruelty, tragedy, and the bizarre collided in moments we were never meant to forget. 1. The X-10 graphite reactor's uranium slug, 1943. This photo shows workers casually handling a uranium slug inside Tennessee's nuclear reactor. No gloves, no protection, just innocence. What they didn't know was that radiation would slowly and painfully kill many of them. Early nuclear pioneers weren't heroes, they were human experiments. 2. Underwater nuclear detonation, 1946. The ocean boils as a 23-kiloton bomb detonates beneath the surface, part of Operation Crossroads. The resulting radioactive plume devastated marine life and poisoned Pacific Islanders. We called it progress. Nature called it irreversible. 3. Bonnie and Clyde's death aftermath, 1934. Their crime spree ended in a storm of bullets. Bonnie and Clyde's final photo shows their lifeless bodies inside their riddled getaway car. Instead of silence, the image was paraded around America. Revenge turned into spectacle. 4. The Easter eggs for Hitler shells, 1940s. Two black soldiers, tired of war's madness, painted their artillery with dark humor. Easter eggs for Hitler. Their fate remains unknown, but this snapshot captures defiance in the face of horror. 5th, German POWs landscaping a U.S. cemetery, 1945. Captured Nazi soldiers were forced to dig graves for fallen Allied troops near Omaha Beach. A photo dripping with irony, digging holes for the very men they tried to kill. War humbles everyone eventually. 6. The unbroken seal of Tutankhamun's tomb, 1922. Before the curse began, this seal held back 3,245 years of history. When archaeologists cracked it open, a string of mysterious deaths followed. Coincidence? Maybe. But the legend lives on. 7. The ghostly apparition during a wake, 1920. Look closely. This funeral photo appears normal until you spot the faint figure hovering behind the mourners. A trick of light? Or something else entirely? Either way, it makes your skin crawl. 8. Lynette Squeaky Fromm's assassination attempt, 1975. She raised a gun at President Gerald Ford and pulled the trigger. It jammed. Lynette Fromm, a Manson cult follower, gave one of the eeriest mugshot stares in history. That look still haunts. 9. The beauty calibrator. This contraption looks like a torture device, and in a way it was. Max Factor used it to measure beauty by symmetry. Women let metal arms poke and prod their faces, chasing a false ideal. Beauty never looked so cruel. 10. The baby with a parasitic twin. A child was born with the underdeveloped legs of his twin attached to his torso. Doctors called it a miracle. Others called it monstrous. Either way, it's a tragic reminder of nature's unpredictability. 11th. The leopard girl performer. She was called the Leopard Girl. A woman covered in spots, paraded through freak shows like a living oddity. Her unique appearance drew crowds, but behind the stage, it was exploitation masked as entertainment. The applause wasn't admiration, it was mockery. 12th. The strongman holding up a car, 1923. This circus strongman stunned audiences by hoisting a full-sized car with his bare body. The crowd gasped, but few thought about what came after. Bones cracked, spines bent, and long-term damage was a quiet cost for fleeting fame. 13. The aftermath of the Dresden bombing, 1945. Once a beautiful cultural hub, Dresden became an open grave. This photo shows a charred city reduced to rubble after Allied firebombs rained down. Thousands of civilians were incinerated in minutes. It's still debated, was it strategy or slaughter? 14. The priest holding a dying soldier, 1962. In the chaos of a Venezuelan uprising, a priest cradled a bleeding man amid flying bullets. There were no medics, no safety, just faith holding on to life. This haunting image captured a moment where violence met humanity. 15. The cow shoes for moonshiners, 1924. Moonshiners got creative, strapping on wooden cow shoes that left hoof prints to fool the cops. It sounds clever, even comical, until you remember one wrong step meant a bullet in the back. Prohibition wasn't just wild, it was deadly. 16. The first U.S. cemetery in Normandy, 1945. White crosses lined the field, each one a teenager who never got to grow old. The first American cemetery in Normandy stood as a quiet tribute to the young men who stormed the beaches and never made it home. 17. The Alsatian dog answering fan mail, 1964. A German shepherd writing letters, adorable at first glance. But this was a PR stunt masking a darker truth. Many animal stars were overworked, mishandled, and cast aside when the cameras stopped rolling. Fame didn't protect them. 18. The Victorian Travelers, 1890s. Dressed in their finest, these explorers posed proudly before disappearing into the unknown. What the photo doesn't show is the dysentery, the jungle fevers, and the tribal conflicts. Many of them never returned, but their portraits remain. Fevers. And 19. The Lumberjacks, 1900. They stand tall next to fallen giants, massive trees cut by hand. Logging back then wasn't just hard, it was lethal. One slip of the axe, one falling branch, and the forest claimed another life. Still, they kept chopping. 20. The Union soldier inside a cannon, Civil War. He climbed into an artillery piece, part curiosity, part foolishness. Cannons like this often misfired or exploded, turning entire crews into casualties. This image is oddly playful until you realize how many died doing just this. 21. The Helium Superman over NYC, 1940. What started as a marvel nearly became a massacre. During the Macy's parade, this towering Superman balloon broke loose in high winds, smashing into buildings. A symbol of strength almost turned into a citywide disaster. 22nd, the Pet Alligator, 1920. A young girl calmly bathing her alligator like it's a golden retriever. Back then, owning exotic pets was a bizarre trend. Many of these creatures later attacked, maimed, or killed their owners, but people still posed with smiles. 23rd, the Portable Police Holding Cell, 1920. Strapped to the back of a motorcycle, this one-man cage was meant to save time. Instead, it was a suffocating trap. No airflow, no safety. It wasn't a holding cell, it was a moving prison box. 24. The Titanic's Promenade Deck, 1912. The calm before the catastrophe. This photo was taken just hours before the Titanic hit the iceberg. The deck looks serene, almost peaceful, completely unaware that over 1,500 souls would be lost by morning. 25. The Franco-Hova war prisoners, 1,895. Captured and condemned, this haunting image shows Malagasy rebels moments before execution by French colonial forces. It wasn't just conquest, it was the erasure of people, language, and resistance. 26. The Stridsvang L5 tank, 1929. A mechanical nightmare on tracks. This early Swedish prototype was more dangerous to its crew than any enemy. Inside those metal walls, even testing was a death sentence. 27. The Acoustic Aircraft Detector, World War II. Before radar, soldiers relied on enormous horn-like detectors to hear incoming planes. It sounds like science fiction, but in truth, it was desperate tech in a losing race against modern warfare. 28th, the Mardi Gras Celebration, 1905. Beneath the beads and costumes, New Orleans hid deep scars. Early Mardi Gras parades excluded black participants, and racial clashes often followed the celebrations. The party never stopped, but the pain never left. 29. The Inuit Girl and Her Husky, 1920s. A tender photo of a girl and her dog, until you know the backstory. Thousands of indigenous children were torn from their families in the name of civilizing them. That innocence was often short-lived. 30. The Polish Riot Police, 1934. Their uniforms look outdated now, but their tactics were ahead of their time. Brutal crackdowns in the 1930s, Poland helped shape the repressive methods used by both Nazi and Soviet regimes shortly after. 31. The Moonshine Cowshoes, 1924. To outsmart Prohibition agents, bootleggers strapped on wooden cowshoes to hide their tracks. It worked, until it didn't. Many were gunned down on sight, their clever trick offering no protection from a bullet. 32. The Three German Soldiers' Grave, 1946. Buried in a shallow grave on Berlin's edge, these young German soldiers died, fighting for a regime that collapsed and left them behind. Their story ended not with glory, but with abandonment. 33. The Woman with Owl-Like Cats, 1940. At first glance, it's a quirky Hollywood portrait, but the truth is darker. Studio executives often shape stars' images while ignoring their mental breakdowns. Behind the surreal setting was a woman unraveling. 34. The Man Dressed with His Pete's, 1950s. A man dressed in matching outfits with his animals. Funny, right? Not really. The 1950s entertainment industry masked widespread mistreatment of animals as wholesome fun. Many pets didn't live past the spotlight. 35. The Attempted Steam-Powered Transport, 1873. This odd invention was supposed to revolutionize travel. Instead, it sparked explosions and took lives. Early tech dreams often burned out literally before they ever hit the road. 36. The Thor Heyerdahl Raft, 1947. Thor Heyerdahl's bold journey across the Pacific was equal parts bravery and madness. Had his raft failed, the entire crew would have disappeared without a trace, lost to the ocean and time. 37. The Car Crash into a Tree, 1930s. One image, twisted metal, shattered glass, and silence. Cars in the 1930s were fast but deadly. No seatbelts, no crumple zones, just hope and reckless speed. 38. The Victorian Child's Fancy Chair, unknown year. A beautifully dressed child was seated like royalty. But outside the frame, millions of kids worked in filthy factories or died from preventable diseases. This wasn't just wealth, it was a world divided. 39th. The Red Cross Nurses Break, 1939. A rare smile before the storm. These nurses took a break before being deployed to battlefields where they'd face blood, death, and unrelenting trauma. They gave care where hope had all but vanished. 40. The 1950s baby car seat. It looked like progress, but it was a death trap. These flimsy metal seats offered no protection, and many infants didn't survive crashes. Safety wasn't always a priority, it was often an afterthought. History doesn't just live in textbooks, it breathes through these haunting images. Behind every photo is a story we were never meant to forget. So, which one stuck with you the most? Let us know in the comments. And if you want more untold moments from history's shadows, don't forget to like and subscribe.